Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and no, the title is not clickbait. Shamans are literally gods on the PTR, as well as other class changes that are happening in BFA. In this video, I just want to go over all the things I was able to take a look just today. Blizzard dropped heaps of stuff on the PTR, and we were actually able to stream it. We were able to test a lot of things, so I'll go into the details. Yes, there were some rogue updates. No, don't expect every single spec to get something new. And then there's also Marksman Hunter change. Now, Marksman isn't really a spec that I've been playing that much after a couple battlegrounds, but I do want to really get into it. I do want it to be good. I like the idea and the theme, and it seems like Blizzard is trying to feed it some changes. So if you're a Shaman main, Marksman main, or Rogue main, this video is mostly for you. I will check out other classes if ever any updates come out. If you guys do want me to cover a certain class, a certain spec that has had some changes, to explain in detail exactly what's new, what's going on, let me know in the comments. I need you guys to let me know, because I keep up with everything, but I can't keep up with how many 36 different specs in the game. Anyway, without further ado, let's actually get into the video. So we got elemental shamans. First of all, I know that a lot of people are going to be wanting to see what they are like, just so let's get this out of the way. They've done some insanely good changes to Ellie. I'm not expecting for them to get any kind of nerfs, but I mean, to see how good they do and how godly they are, you're definitely going to have some balancing down or adjustments. Unless Blizzard decides that, hey, you know what, shamans have been getting wrecked for all BFA, let them be the gods they're supposed to be. So they made a lot of changes to the spec, and at first it looked scary, especially for people that play PvP Elemental Shaman. It looked like your whole Earth Shock combo wombo is gonna be gone, but instead they're transferring a lot of damage back into your Lightning Bolt. With some of the playstyles with Lightning Bolt Overload, with your Stormkeeper for example, all combined together for big massive burst, plus also maybe a meteor from your pet, maybe if you feel like being a little bit cheeky. Elemental Shamans can really pump out damage whenever they want to. Instead of having to feel like you're waiting for big damage, you kind of just pop a bunch of cooldowns, press a bunch of buttons, bam, you got your big rock shock rotation going on, and that's it. Which I feel like for an elemental shaman or any class at all, when you have a burst button, you press that burst button and then you just pump damage. You don't have any kind of like things you gotta play around, you don't have any stipulations, it's just you got a big button, you press the big button, you do the big damage, done. It's a simple and cut plan. There are some maybe issues with maybe doing too much damage, maybe being too bursty, so Blizzard hopefully just, if anything, adjusts it down rather than outright cuts it in half and nerfs it. Although there is this godly survivability playstyle for elemental shamans, and I would think enhancement shamans as well. It has to do with a couple things like the Ghost Wolf and how Ghost Wolf can heal and take 20% less damage, making you basically unkillable. So as elemental shamans, you guys might be happy that you might be able to start running flags. Of course, this part is definitely gonna get nerfed because it's a little bit silly. It's very similar to Restoration Druid sitting in bear form back in Legion, but let me just explain. It's a combination of an Azerite trait that's like in the middle ring that allows you to heal for about 2 some K every 0.9 seconds, and you have triple stacked of that. Then you go for an honor talent that allows you 3% health every 2 seconds while you're in Ghost form. You also run a talent that allows you to stack up over time while you're in Ghost Wolf, a damage debuff and movement speed increase. So you are healing passively every 1 second for about 8k depending on the item level of your pieces of gear. Then you're also healing for 3% every 2 seconds while you also take 20% less damage. And if you're ever taking a lot of damage, you can throw a wall on top of that to give you extra coating. So in this sense, you can just run around in Ghost Wolf. Bam. Right? Big double tap. Purge him. Oh, look at that burst. Oh my god, that's so good for Marksman. Look at that burst. Do you see that burst? Okay, double tap. Woo! Oh my god, I'm actually getting so close to dead. So close to dead. You know, purge him, just purge him for like a second, just to peel him. Oh my god, the knockback. Okay, you guys ready? I'm gonna purge him again. Purge him again. And we're gonna aim shot after this. And arcane shot, and probably get thing again. Nope, didn't get it. We can keep him low, keeping him low. Oh, now he's popping big defenses, huh? Oh, now he's popping. Good. This is your big defensive. I like that. Your big defensive. The big one. Okay, cool. Okay, I fucked it up a little, but it's okay. Bam! Nah, I fucked it up. So you can't really attack, you can't really fight back. You can run flags at most, but you have to get out of Ghost Wolf before you really want to do big damage. What are your thoughts, guys? Is that something Shamans should have? Again, I feel like it's a little bit overpowered because it feels similar to what Restoration Druids had back in Legion. But I do like the fact that Shamans went from like this class that was easily targetable in BGs to now they're basically unkillable. I like that flip, and I think Blizzard should keep that maybe for a week or two, just so Shaman mains that have been completely just garbage, just not treated properly by the developers at the beginning of BFA. Just let them have free reign, let them have some fun, and then you can kind of start balancing things down. But not nerfing, because I know Blizzard loves to just heavy hand some things. I really do think, if anything, balance it down. But it's kind of cool and kind of fun, because you actually get to use Azerite gear to make some crazy builds. Oh, look at that. Alright, off on to Marksman Hunters, because I feel like with Rogues I'll need to talk a bit more in detail, but let's get them out of the way. Marksman Hunters have gotten a lot of quality of life changes, is how I got explained. While trying out Marksman Hunter on the PTR, I had a couple of Marksman Hunter mains tell me, hey, try this build, hey, try that build, try this changes, try those changes, try these Azerite traits. So the purpose of changing for Marksman Hunters is to make them a little bit stronger, a little bit more viable, and maybe even better for PvP. Marksman Hunter is the spec out of all three specs of Hunter that is seeing the least amount of play, and for multiple reasons. The current build for Marksman Hunter that is playable right now is called a meme build, very similar to what Outlaw Rogues have for like the meme build of 2-button playstyle. It is not really a playstyle that Blizzard intended. It kind of bypasses a lot of the Blizzard mechanics, but it puts out far more damage than if you were to play the way the spec was designed to play. I feel like that just points out that the spec has so many issues. So Blizzard is trying to solve a lot of those. So some of the things Blizzard is doing, and this is going to be something most Marksman Hunters will know, but Bursting Shot, which is like this knockback slash slow ability, now can no longer be dodged, which I think was weird that it could be dodged. Imagine trying to peel a rogue away from you and he dodges this like Typhoon ability. And now it snares targets for a little bit longer by a few seconds. Steady Shot now also has an interesting synergy with Concussive Shot. When you hit a target with Steady Shot, it will make a Concussive Shot last a little bit longer. Which you have, let's say, Beastmaster with a pet that has like a passive slow, Survival maybe with a pet that has a passive slow. Marksman can generally run around with a pet or without a pet. So this is, I guess, a weird change. I don't know if that will affect any Marksman Hunters to have long duration on Concussive Shot, but might be good for PvP. Rapid Fire also got changed. It's a channeling ability where you fire a bunch of arrows. The problem with that was enemies could line of sight you. So imagine like if you had a Warlock trying to drain your life and you line of sight and it was like, oh, I can't drain anymore. So they changed Rapid Fire so it will actually function with LOS. And like if somebody LOSs you while you got Rapid Fire going, you'll still keep hitting them with Rapid Fire, which makes it a little more consistent in PvP. Apparently you'll also be able to disengage while channeling Rapid Fire. So let's say somebody's trying to run away from you and you have Rapid Fire already going. You can kind of turn around back towards the enemy, disengage into them, turn around very quickly and continue to hit them with Rapid Fire. And I think that's actually a really cool playstyle. Aim Shot on top of that was majority of the damage of Marksman Hunter, but the playstyle that it was for it and the talent combination was just not consistent. So Blizzard wants to give it more consistency. Aim Shot combined together with the talent of Careful Aim. Careful Aim used to grant you like a 50% chance to grant you bonus damage on targets that have high health or low health. Instead, now what they're doing is they're removing some of the damage bonuses of Aim Shot, like the initial 50% damage bonus and some of the other talents and traits that function with it, and then shuffling them around. But Careful Aim will always grant a damage bonus to Aim Shot, whether you're hitting the enemy at high health or trying to go for the execute range, which makes it a little bit better. True Shot also has been redesigned as it's an actual cooldown finally. Marksman Hunters will have a cooldown rather than just like a mini bloodlust for them. So it's awesome. What True Shot will do now is it still reduces the cast of your Aim Shot, but it now also makes Rapid Fire and Aim Shot have a way shorter cooldown so you can use them a lot more. Now, I don't know how you can use it, but I think it's going to be a much better cooldown than what it was. The fact that you can use more aim shots, which is your hardest hitting ability, and rapid fire, which can be your second or the most hardest hitting ability, depending on your Azerite traits, simply means that you're getting your best abilities out in the opener or during execute. On top of that, explosive shot got changed too. It's now the old school explosive shot, where you'll kind of just like live and bomb the enemy. You shoot them with an explosive shot, and then after a bit they just explode without having to aim and activate a rocket that flies in front of you. Lethal shots also got changed, so now arcane shot and multi-shot have a 20% chance to reduce the cooldown of rapid fire, so it means more rapid fire playstyles. Volley got changed up, so now it has a higher chance to proc, but a little bit less damage. For PvP, this is a huge change to Marksman Hunters. Right now, Marksman Hunters are basically sitting ducks out in the world, whether you're dungeons, whether you're doing arenas. Nobody really plays Marksman for PvP. Not only does the spec not really do enough damage against other players compared to Beastmaster or Survival, but also the defensive side of it, you only have freeze and trap and a knockback. The hardest part for Marksman to deal with is with melee. When melee get on top of you, one of your hardest hitting abilities, aim shot, forces you to stand still in place. Where most casters would rather slow the melee down and try to run away from them and knock them back, here you're forced to, if you want to deal damage, stand still, hold your gun, and aim shot at them. That puts you in a position against a rogue to be gouged, sapped, cheap shot, every kind of CC thrown at you to stop your damage. And if you do decide to rapid fire at them, generally in the past rapid fire didn't do enough damage, so hopefully maybe with these changes it might do now. But they are adding a change to playstyle for marksmen since they're so vulnerable out here. They're changing sniper shots, so now it deals 20% of targets maximum health in physical damage and increases the range of all your abilities by 40% for 6 seconds. I think this will offer Marksman Hunters maybe a possibility to be viable in PvP, similar to what Fire Mages have with the Greater Pyroblast. Greater Pyroblast is a spell they have to cast for a good chunk of time, but once they unleash it, it's always going to do a percentage health of the enemy. So with Sniper Shot, maybe it'll be similar to Marksman Hunters. Maybe for Marksman, what they'll have to do is they'll have to stand their ground, get that sniper shot, or maybe get like some slow on the enemy, get a sniper shot, make sure to find the moments where you can get those casts off, and chunk enemy for 20% of the health every single time. I don't know where it was, but Blizzard stated that Marksman Hunters are meant to be kind of a high risk, high reward type of class, especially for PvP. Because there's some abilities that allow them to move, but they're big, hardest hitters don't let them move at all. You have to find a good position, you have to take risks, you have to take chances and find moments where you can get those big casts off, but it just never really had the big payoff. Maybe with Sniper Shot it might put Marksman Hunter in a situation where they can finally have some big payoff when it comes to PvP. But still, it doesn't help the spec because it is still very susceptible to damage from melee and range, as it doesn't have the best defensives or doesn't have as much utility as Survival or Beast Mastery. Regardless, it still has some potential, and maybe this talent trait might make him viable in certain arena comps and in PvP. Only time will tell. And finally, for rogues, we have 3 Azure traits that I can go into detail for. We have 2 for Subtlety and 1 for Assassination. Let's first start with Subtlety. Subtlety isn't getting huge buffs. It actually is getting a bit of change with the Shuriken Storm, Shuriken Combo system. Shuriken Combo is getting some of its damage for Eviscerate retracted, but the damage goes back into Shuriken Storm, so that Subtlety doesn't get as insane of single target damage, which sucks for any rogues trying to do Mythic Zol. Anyway, some of the Azure traits that we'll be taking a look at is Blade in the Shadows. They changed this one a little bit by nerfing the damage of Shadow Strike by a bit per stack, but now they changed it so that the cost of Shadow Strike is 2 less energy. So technically it should mean that more Shadow Strikes might come out of your playstyle, and I guess it's a nice little tag on at the end. I mean, if you're gonna nerf the trait even more, at least cost a little bit less energy, so maybe you'll be able to use more of them. Although I don't think anyone will go and start triple stacking Blade in the Shadows. I don't really know what Blizzard is doing with some of these traits, but I guess it's a nice tag on, if anything. Then we got actually a really cool change to Perforate, and I would like to hear you guys' opinions if you're a Subtlety main. Perforate now still does the whole backstab damage that stacks up if you're behind the enemy, but now it has a nice tag on, just like Blade in the Shadows. It says, and reduces the cooldown of Shadow Blades by half a second. And I tested it on PTR, and whether you stack it 3 times or 2 times, it's still always going to be half a second cooldown reduction. So every backstab is going to reduce the cooldown of your Shadow Blades by half a second. Of course, in PTR we wanted to test this out to the max. We went for a full Gloomblade build to see if we can just spam Gloomblade all day and use as little finishers as possible, mostly just spamming Gloomblade. And you can, in the most maximized use, shave off like 40 seconds off of Shadow Blades. So on average, I think you'll be able to shave off maybe 20 seconds off of Shadow Blades, which I think will allow for more uses. I think this makes this trait, like if you get this as an upgrade for a Azerite bonus from your Mythic Plus chest, with Perforate being only a backstab thing, the reduce the cooldown of Shadow Blades with your backstabs add-on, I feel like makes it a little bit less of a letdown, I guess is the best way to put it. I wish we got some awesome new traits with some amazing buffs, but I think this one is a minor change. You guys let me know in the comments, what do you think? Also for Assassination, we were able to test out the brand new trait of Nothing Personal. We were able to get 2 Azerite traits to double stack it to see the damage, and it actually turned out pretty well. It offers a slight change to playstyle, but not really. It only offers a single target's change to playstyle, but not even that much of a change, so I guess it's just a brand new trait added in. The Azerite trait itself, during Vendetta, you mutilate deals more damage. And Vendetta also generates a little bit more energy at the very start. So you would use this after your opener when you exhaust all of your energy, pop Vendetta, and just start going through rotation, building comp points with mutilates, and using comp points at max 4 or 5 into finishers. All this will do is increase the burst damage of your Vendetta, mostly for single target. So I guess it's a nice little bit of an add-on. I feel like we've already had some of those passive type of traits already for Assassination. I feel like out of all 3 specs, Assassination has the most passive traits. So maybe like some more active, something that actually changes the gameplay would be cool. But I guess if you end up getting this trait instead of some of the other ones, at least this one is not that much of a disappointment. I do think this trait will actually be pretty good for PvP. When you're trying to score a kill on an enemy target, you're usually not going to throw your Vendetta around just willy-nilly. You're probably going to be using your Vendetta, and then you're going to try to nuke the enemy down. So increase damage to your mutilates while the target is Vendetted, I think is going to be insanely powerful. I mean, you're going to be spamming mutilate anyway, so to increase the damage, especially during Vendetta, is going to be pretty potent. My only question is, increase the damage by about 2000. I wonder if that's going to be 2000 for each dagger hit, because mutilate is a 2-prong attack, or if it's going to be like 2000 shared across both daggers, so like 1000 for one dagger increased damage and 1000 for the other. I'm actually very interested how that works out. But overall, I guess it's a decent trait. It's not the craziest. I really was hoping it would be something amazing. Honestly, an ability called Nothing Personal should have worked with Shadow Step. And that's what me and my stream said a couple times. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video on the updates for the PTR. I want to make a video for 8.1, all the things coming out very soon. I'm just waiting for Blizzard to add more stuff to the PTR, some of the bigger mechanics, bigger events, bigger content to add to the list. Thank you guys again for watching this video. I do hope you appreciate it. If you guys want to see more PTR updates, let me know in the comments below, or give this video a like. That is it for me too. Thank you guys, hope you enjoyed. I'll see all of you in the next one.